It depends on how you want to call it. When the people can see what's really going on, it's easier for us to know what we got to combat. We don't want to wrestle with these folks. We build our own shit. Like, and when I say that, I'm talking about on the government level, like a self-governing nation within the nation, a nation within the nation, with our own alliance. That doesn't mean, because we wanted to make y'all our enemies, we could have just said we're gonna make y'all our enemies. But the fuck we gonna go to war with a corporation for? Like when we can just build our own shit and just, you know, do our thing. Like, it's still not gonna change anything. The only thing it'll change is we'll control the narrative of the imagery and the history and what is our culture, and we'll define that. And no one outside of the culture, like they call it racism when we don't want to let people be a part of our culture, but they don't let nobody be a part of their culture. But they want to be a part of everybody else's culture. And like I said, that type of thinking comes from a hybrid species that's like, it's beyond even white people. Like, we would have to address racism on a different level, because this is just mostly about fear God, fuck the feds. The number one weapon they got against you is fear. People fear taking a piece of the remittance coupon attached to the bill. And I told people before, if the remittance coupon on the bottom of the bill can't be used as a payment, and it's not a payment instrument, it will either say for office use only or non-negotiable. But because it does not, under the Uniform Commercial Code in your state, whether you're in Wyoming or Nevada, Nevada's Commercial Code, Wyoming's Commercial Code 3-303, value and consideration. It qualifies, Article 3 under the Uniform Commercial Code qualifies what an instrument that meets these descriptions defined in the law mean. They don't want you to start fucking with the UCC, because the Uniform Commercial Code is a commercial law that governs every transaction in the world. If you sell a beer, you sell a Newport, you selling dope, you selling Nikes, the UCC governs every contract, every rights assigned, transfers of securities, documents of titles. This is shit you don't even know about because you think you don't know about them. They call it something else, but every day you handle these instruments. A check is considered a negotiable instrument, but they tell you it's a check. It says pay to the order of, and you write the check out to the person you paying, but you don't know where they get the source, the law that tells them why they have to put a pay to the order, and what does a pay to the order constitutes. It's a payment order. When they tell you that you're sending a money order to somebody, people think, oh, it's the actual instrument, it's the money order. No, it's an order for money. Then there's no fucking money coming through the fucking wire when they send a, tell me we're gonna send a wire transfer ACH. All they're gonna do is say, we got an instrument that evidences indebtedness, and because of that, we can record it on the balance sheet as the value that we're going to record here. Now, due to the United States holding the obligation of producing a monetary system that would go dollar for dollar for each exchange of value that needs to be carried over, those will be withdrawn in Federal Reserve notes, who will be the agency and corporation that will handle that functionality of the government. And for every note that they put out, for every Federal Reserve note, that's a note. Is it a promissory, is a Federal Reserve note a promissory note, or is it a security? It's a promissory note. It could be a promissory note security, but in its foundation, we can say it's a promissory note because it's a promise to pay in the future. But they say it satisfies payment right now. Promissory notes are allowed to satisfy payments then and now. Why? Why can promissory notes do that? Because what qualifies an instrument to be negotiable, which means tradable, for the value and consideration stipulated within it to be used as a credit or exchange for a value that someone else can use, constitutes a negotiable instrument of value. That means money orders, checks, promissory notes, mortgages, credit applications. They don't want to tell you that. Remittance coupons on your water bill, your light bill, your telephone bill, your cable bill. They got people in the feds and the CIA that actually get out here and they like, we're not no fucking sovereign citizens. But make no mistake about it, we are the sovereign people. See, we're not gonna go back and forth with y'all lip wrestling about the classification of two words that don't go together. You can't be sovereign and a citizen. So anybody claims that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. That was something created by the infiltrators and people who are scared of you guys because they're scared to stand on these principles in front of your face because they think that you guys are going to call them domestic terrorism or consider their paperwork paper terrorism. Well, it's paper terrorism that you're committing against the people when you're using these papers to commit genocide, paper genocide against the people by putting them in debt. And nobody is free from debt in this country. And they act like we can't live without money as if the Most High was that incompetent. That was the whole purpose of him creating the resources that we have in abundance. That way no man or woman could be greater than the other because you can get as much as you need and what you want to your satisfaction. But we don't live in a world where that free will can be exercised. It's mediated by forces outside of ourselves that are unnatural. And they do it by consenting contracts that you don't know, birth certificates, social securities. You wonder what, you talking about you can't drive with a license, name, show. The reason why you gotta have a fucking license is because when you sitting there at the retail installment contract signing up for the car note, you're signing up paying the taxes, you don't know. You're selling your title to them, the original title, which is a manufacturer certificate of origin. You're selling that back to the state. Well, the dealer is selling that back to the state for a fee or a credit, whatever. And then they're holding a security interest because the state's gonna make money after you having to register the vehicle, you get your license, then they can pull you over. That's a contract. But why the hell are they taking your original title so you can go after the dealer and say, hey, why are you sending my title to the state? I want my original title because you got to give me full value and consideration. And it said title free from claims. You can't transfer me a title with me having to, well, that's how it goes for everybody. That's because nobody's waking up and smelling what the fuck the rock is cooking. That's why. So that's why people don't do it. And you'll see a lot of people getting into this shit. They want to scare you away from this shit and say all the straw man and all this dummy and these secrets accounts. We're going to break down all this shit, Mythbusters. I'm going to break down all this UCC Mythbuster shit, this fake patriot shit, this UCC shit, this where niggas is scared of the feds because the feds intimidating people and intimidating motherfuckers to, they want to go into private. Oh, I'm going into private. How the fuck you going to go into private when all the laws is public? I mean, I'm not going to private, my bad. People say they want to keep the information private, but all the information public. But they gonna change it. Who gives a fuck if they playing dirty in the first place? Why be cool with them because they playing dirty and it's favorable for you now knowing that they gonna switch the move to make it unfavorable until you gets back favorable for you? But come on, man, like we ain't playing that game, man. We standing on this shit in their chest. It's Die Hard 4400. Join us or be a slave. Fear God, fuck feds.